Autoline Daily is brought to you by Borg Warner, feel good about driving. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion. And by Dow Automotive Systems, improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com.
Yes, we are here today. Even though much of the Northern Hemisphere is frozen solid, the Autoline crew have reported for duty. So now let's get to some of the latest developments in the global automotive industry. And today, we start our coverage in Europe. And just when we thought car sales in Europe had hit bottom, Reuters reports that sales in Germany dropped over 4% last year to just under 3 million vehicles, the worst they've been in 3 years. But at the same time, car makers in Germany are having a hard time. Things look much better for the industry in the United Kingdom. Ward's Auto reports that production there is up 4.5% through November and is on pace to hit 1.5 million units, and that's for the first time in 6 years. The UK is now the one bright spot in Western Europe when it comes to sales of new cars. According to an in-depth study by the consultancy IHS, autonomous cars are right around the corner, and the day is coming when all cars will be able to drive themselves. It forecasts that sales of autonomous cars will hit 230,000 vehicles in 2025, 11.8 million vehicles in 2035, and that all vehicles, both passenger and commercial, will be autonomous after 2050. It says North America will have the most autonomous vehicles, 29% of global market share by 2035. China will have 24%, and Western Europe will have 20%. IHS also predicts that the technology will cost somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000 per car, but I think that's a very high estimate. Both Google and Audi have told me they expect the technology to cost something like $3,000 and go down from there. For decades, automotive designers have dreamed of developing solar-powered cars, and now Ford has brought that dream one step closer to reality. Working with the Georgia Institute of Technology, they came up with a trellis that you park your electric car under. On top of the trellis is a Fresnel lens that concentrates the sun's rays as it moves across the sky and focuses them on the solar panel. That captures 8 times more energy than it would otherwise. Ford says it's the equivalent of charging for 4 hours, putting 8 kilowatts of power into the batteries. Fresnel lenses were first developed for lighthouses in the early 19th century. They allowed light from a relatively modest light source to put out a powerful beam. Ford says it can make this lens out of plastic and that it would not be very expensive. The C-Max Energy that demonstrates this concept has a new type of photovoltaic cell that can bend slightly to fit the contour of the roof. This is an interesting concept and one that's going to appeal to a lot of EV advocates. Infiniti is drawing more inspiration from its connection to the Red Bull Formula One racing team, especially with its new concept car. Meet the Q50 Eau Rouge. Many of you already know, but Eau Rouge is one of the famous turns at the famous Spot racetrack in Belgium. The concept is based on the Q50, but is both lower and wider than the production version. Only the door and roof profiles have stayed the same. It features a carbon fiber aerodynamic package, lightweight 21-inch wheels, and a dual exhaust system. The Eau Rouge will be revealed at the Detroit Auto Show on January 13th. And speaking of race-inspired concepts, check out this one from Kia called the GT4 Stinger. It is a rear-drive car that's powered by a turbocharged 2-liter engine that pumps out 315 horsepower. It also features Kia's signature grille design, custom 20-inch wheels, and a carbon fiber front splitter. That's all we know at this point, but we'll keep you up to date as more details are released. So who's going to win the North American Car and Truck of the Year awards? More on that right after this.
Dow Automotive Systems, driving solutions in automotive, commercial transportation, and aftermarket with innovative products like Betamate structural adhesives. Lighter, stronger, safer. DowBetamate.com.
A little over a week from now, the jury for the North American Car and Truck of the Year Awards will announce the winners at the opening day of the Detroit Auto Show. I'm on that jury, and I pulled in several of my fellow jurors for my television program, Autoline This Week, to talk about the different vehicles that were up for the award and to predict who will win. Here's a clip from the show where we talk about the contenders for the North American Car of the Year.
You know, it's interesting too. Over the years, we've gotten to know the Corvette team, and it's largely the same guys. I mean, what I felt seeing the C7 versus the C6 and C5 was that somebody finally let them do what they wanted to do. I think they've always known what the car needed, and so it's really quite rewarding to see them succeed and have that chance. Because you know, the one thing when I started in this business 20 years ago, and you know, coming from the East, it was Detroit didn't have the knowledge of the Europeans or the Asians, and then come to meet all these guys, and they're brilliant, but the cars weren't so good. And so it always strikes my head, what was the disconnect? But it seems like that's removed now.
Well, this to me is the real story about the turnaround in Detroit.
Yeah.
4 years ago, they're bankrupt, or, you know, hemorrhaging money in the case of Ford. Now, they're screaming ahead. We're talking about the coolest technology, the design. It's the same people.
It's the same people.
The same people.
Yeah.
And what it shows is top management prevented these hard-working true believers from really doing their magic and coming out with great product.
Well, the proof in the pudding is the fact that 2 out of the 3 finalists in the car are GM products or domestic products. So obviously they're getting things right, and you know, it's to Larry's point, somebody's letting them do it, and they're showing. So.
By the way, you can watch that entire show right now on our website at Autoline.tv, or check your local public television listings, because Autoline This Week is available on many of those stations. Or check out our YouTube channel. Just look for the Autoline Network. And that wraps up today's show. Thanks for watching, and remember, we'll be back here on Monday morning to help you keep up with the latest developments in the global automotive industry.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.